Hello, divinations, divine marvels, children of God. Thank you so much for dropping by. So I very recently got an interesting comment from a Mooji devotee, and I'll read part of it again. It really highlights just how off kilter the Mooji movement is, and Neo-Advaita in general is. So I've already commented a little bit on this, but I just so want to highlight it's a specific part of it. I've watched a number of your clips trying to understand what you want to achieve. I'm not sure I've reached any conclusion, but it seems as if religious concepts are of crucial importance to you. Okay, so what I'm trying to achieve on this channel is a presentation of Advaita Vedanta and a critique of anything that isn't Advaita Vedanta but pretends that it is. Mooji being a key example of this. And so I'm not surprised that a Mooji devotee wouldn't understand what I'm talking about, because Mooji, seemingly himself, but certainly in his teachings, and with all the Mooji devotees I've talked to, and now I've talked to over 100, are very miseducated about what Advaita Vedanta is, to the point where you could really just say there's, in the Mooji movement as a whole, there's just really absolute ignorance about what the tradition is, which is kind of funny because Mooji claims, to be a part of the tradition, but he's broken with it so far that, my videos, which are really, again, two topics, Advaita Vedanta and criticism of that which isn't Advaita Vedanta and says it is. So Mooji devotees are so misinformed about by Mooji, about what the path of Advaita Vedanta is, that when they hear me talking about it, or I'm sure hear other people talking about it, here's their reaction. It seems as if religious concepts are of crucial importance to you. So, this person continues on later. Did Jesus, let's see. Which comes first, enlightenment or religious belief systems, you think? So basically what this person is doing is saying, well, Mooji's enlightened, so he trumps all these other things. This 1,100-year tradition, which is a tradition in which many, many people followed these exercises and all came to the same conclusion. But that's a religious tradition. Mooji is enlightened, so we're just going to follow him. That's really the essence of what's going on here. And it's really, it's more twisted than I thought. The movement is much more twisted than I thought. When now, it's like they're claiming to be part of Advaita Vedanta, and yet they're simultaneously saying, oh, Advaita Vedanta is just a religion. We're going to follow Mooji. So there you have it. Ramana Maharshi, Adishara, and all the beings in between those two, that's a religion, according to one Mooji devotee. And I would say that if I got into, I don't think this person's on their own. Of course, the irony of all of this is that the Mooji movement it's completely a religion at this point. It's moved so far away from the spiritual tradition of Advaita Vedanta that it really is just its own belief system at this point. And yeah. So if you want this channel to make sense, and what I'm doing to make sense, what you're going to need to do is go read some Advaita Vedanta. Like, here's a really good one, The Essence of Enlightenment by James Schwartz. You can actually read the one thing that Ramana wrote, the one actual book, it's a very short book, that Ramana wrote called Upadesha Saram. Don't be surprised if you don't understand it. It's just classic Advaita Vedanta, and Mooji doesn't teach it. Mooji teaches something called Neo-Advaita, which takes this very vast, rich tradition and then shares like this much of it. So thanks for expressing your confusion, and I've given you the remedy for your confusion. Unless you're interested in just following Mooji, and if you're young and hot, you can end up in his bed, or if you could maybe end up being one more of his suicides. Okay, that was uncalled for a little bit. What do I want to say? It's not about following an individual. It is about following, you know, the long and short of it is this whole thing with Mooji has broken my heart. It's really broken my heart. And Advaita Vedanta is very precious to me. The teachings of Ramana Maharshi are very precious to me, and see them so deeply distorted. And not only that, to see people be really harmed by it. Advaita Vedanta, Neo-Advaita, the way, which is basically what Mooji is teaching, it's not only it's very addictive, and it's very dangerous, and it breaks my heart to see and interact with so many people who've been so harmed by it. So Mooji was just some dude who just wrote books and gave a talk every now and then, like no big deal. But he isn't. He's playing the role of a guru. He's founded a spiritual community in which he wields control over people's lives, forcing people to sign non-disclosure agreements so they can't even talk about what happens there. All the while encouraging people, and then his devotees encouraging people who come to surrender to Mooji. It's really sick. And so I'd like to thank that commenter for one more example of how sick it is.